So we're living in an age where science and technology are friends. We're living in an age where science and technology are helps and support each other. So as a result of the combination between these two, the science and the technology, we have seen a lot of new invention and which lead into many profound benefits to human race. And this human genetic engineering is one good example of that. But even that human genetic engineering is a new invention, we cannot say that it is at its best point yet. It still needs a further development in order to serve the human benefits in the future. So today I'm going to talk about the importance of human genetic engineering and why we need it, and of course why it is not enough for us. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about the importance of genetic engineering. So we are human, and it is really important for us to study about life. So it is also really important for us to study about genes. Why? Because gene is a form of life. And what is the point of studying about the genes? Well, because if we know deeply about the genes, we can know what's going on in the body of a particular species. For example, we can know what is going on in the body, we can know the past of that species, and of course we can predict the future development of that species. So in the same way, studying about this human genetic engineering, we also can play with our genes. And how we're going to play it? We're going to play it in a way that benefits people in the future. For example, we can modify genes or we can duplicate the genes. So why are we going to modify and why are we going to duplicate that? So a good example is this. As we nowadays be facing a real problem of getting infected by a lot of contagious disease. So if we can modify our genes, we can integrate our genes with a vaccine, for example, to fight against the disease, to make our gene disease resistant. So in the future, we might have not been infected by other contagious disease, which is a really nice development, a really nice future. And the next thing is why we should duplicate our genes. Well, if we take a look at the hospital, there are thousands of people who are waiting for an organ transplant. And of course, they need an organ to do that. But in the past, we always get that organs from the donor. But nowadays, we've seen that the numbers of the organ donor is really low compared to people who need it. So that's why we need technology to help that. And human genetic engineering have come into a way and solve these problems. Because scientists nowadays, they only take a cell from the destinated organs and they can grow it. And they can grow it perfectly and that match the body perfectly. So it's going to be great if we have that human genetic engineering. But even that we've been here so far, but we cannot say that this is enough for us, because there are a lot of things that we don't know, a lot of things that we haven't achieved, and a lot of things that we plan to achieve. For example, scientists nowadays have planning to create a nano device that's set into our bloodstream that collect the information or data of our body and to cure the minor disease in our body, and of course to measure the glucose level, for example. So we can see that these imaginations are still in progress. So that is clearly stated that they have the future development of that. So to sum up, I've been talking about how important is the engineering and why it is yet to be enough. So as a final point, I would say that human genetic engineering is not enough for us right now. We have to try to find another advanced technology or advanced development in order to make the genetic engineering more powerful, more potential, to be able to supply the endless demand of people. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to give a floor forward.
One of the things that you mentioned in your speech is that there's so much that we don't know about genes, about what's happening inside of our bodies. One of the harms of genetic engineering is that we don't know what we're doing, and we might do something that we think is good but actually has horrible effects. but we don't know until we do it on a person. Do you think it's responsible for scientists to experiment on people when they just don't know enough to know what the impact will be?
Thanks for the question. Well, for that part, I would say that the part that I say that how we play with it. Before we play with it, I think that scientists would have been prepared for it. They would conduct thousands of experiments before they do it to the real human. For example, they can do it on animal first, because we have seen that a lot of things, a lot of experiments on that genetic have done on fruits, on animals. So I think that they're gonna be okay in the future because they have conducted a lot of experiments.
Okay, I agree with you. For example, the Ebola outbreak in Africa, they had to push forward the process of giving vaccines to people that were untested. They were tested on human beings, and they proved to be very helpful. But you mentioned that the advanced technology of just genetics is not enough, and I agree with you there. Do you know what the other two technologies are? There are three technologies: the genetics, the technology of genetics, and two others that will help transform the world within the next 10 years. Do you know what they are?
Well, according to my research, I haven't faced the others too. Sorry for that.
They are nanotechnology and robotics. And the three of these will transform the whole world during the singularity in the 2020s. Your whole life will change. And I hope for the better, but I don't know. I thank you.
Thank you.